What's up, everybody? My name is Mike Toledo, along with Daniel Grom and Vince D'Alessandro. Today's topic is going to be about lights. I guess Daniel Grom is going to lead us into this podcast. So welcome, guys.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Hi, Mike. Hi, Daniel. How are you today?
Hey, Vince.
Doing good. So, anyways, it's late. It's late out. So,
yeah, this is kind of good. This is kind of different for us. So, how was your Easter vacation? How was your first day back working? Anything interesting happened there, Mikey, at work or Vince?
Easter egg. Well, I was a finalist in the Easter egg toss, but
Oh.
we are always we have this giant Easter egg toss, and
Yeah.
literally we're throwing it probably about 50 yards, like chucking it. And it
Are
wasn't
these
this far.
hard-boiled eggs or are they
No, they're
live
real.
egg?
We got some good competition, man. You got some soft fingers out there. So yeah, it was pretty good. Not bad. So
Nice.
Yeah, that's great. I had a nice, relaxing day. Didn't do much. In fact, I didn't even get out of my pajamas all day and all night. Wife made a wonderful ham dinner and had some neighbors over for dinner, and that was it.
yeah, you know what? I forgot to say that John Hiley's not joining us.
Yes, John Hiley is not here. It
It's-
was
Well,
the
that's because we're late at night and it's like
It's 1
Yes.
o'clock in the morning over there.
yeah. Actually, yeah, it'd be 12. No, actually, it's 1:30 in the morning.
Big John.
yeah.
Hiley.
We should call him, get him out of bed.
Yeah, we should. He ain't gonna answer. His phone his wife was like mine, tearing your phone off. So it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right. So what's going on with you, Daniel? Like you might as well just bust it out, man. You're butthead. He's late
Yeah.
for this this particular podcast. Why, Daniel? Why?
Well, I had the opportunity to go down to Skywalker Ranch and see the making of Star Wars, the latest Star Wars movie. So probably going to be the like the bonus features on the DVD. And we got to go see the premiere tonight with my son and another friend, and we actually got some special VIP treatment. But honestly, I don't think I can talk about it. I'm not. It's really kind of, you're not supposed to talk about it or post anything. And
They're going to send the
take picture.
The stormtroopers are going to come and get you.
That's right.
Absolutely. But,
you guys know I had $10,000 worth of Star Wars stolen like 2 years ago.
Did you
What?
really?
I
Yeah,
didn't know
you
that.
didn't know
I
that?
knew you.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I have a whole storage I pay for my Star Wars, and my wife thinks that somebody was kind of casing it because I got my Civic in there. You know, I got all kinds of wheels.
Well, I
and,
remember it getting broken into, and
yeah,
you
so I
had
cut the
some stuff
lock.
stolen,
They
but-
knew exactly what they were getting, and guess what?
Yep.
Nobody knew. No, all these cameras all around. Nobody saw anything. Not even the cameras. Of course, it was
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago. We made them rewind it and go back, but I think it's inside.
Do they have insurance to cover you for that stuff?
No, it's our
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
That's what they say. So,
Mm.
Wow, I would
I'd
sue
sue 'em.
them.
So
anyways, enough of the sob story.
Yeah.
So we're
Okay,
gonna
we're going
about
to talk about lights tonight, right?
lightsabers. Perhaps?
Lightsabers. Yeah.
It's getting like lightsabers. You know, let me check that dent up. You know,
Right?
Yeah, with the hot box, right? It's getting close.
and the cold glue. And anyways, yeah. No, that LED lights are. I think we're gonna see a shift pretty soon in different type of lighting. If you ask me, we're due for that.
So let me tell you guys something that I found really interesting. So we're really into tools. The show's about tools, and one of my competitors, who I'm friendly with, he's an original Dent Wizard guy, but he's worse than Vince as far as buying tools. This guy does not buy any tools, but he heard about the cold glue, and so he got a hold of me and was asking me about it. I was telling him about it, and then he came by my shop, and he hasn't been by my shop in years. And So I'm showing him around, and I show him my James Lee limited light, and he goes, "Whoa, what is that?" And I was astonished that he didn't have at least some light, and he's still using a reflector board. And I go, "Show me what you use." He pulls out the most beat up reflector board you've ever seen, and he didn't even try to repaint it, to spruce it up. I mean, this thing was so pathetic looking. I
Like
I
bits and
I
corners
couldn't
of
take
it.
a dent out with this thing if my life depended on it. And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." And he says, "Oh, you get used to it." And I'm like, "Why would you want to get used to it?"
Yeah, exactly. Why?
And you know what? I was just floored. I was literally floored. And I have 3 of those lights. And he's like, "Well, do you think I should get one?" I go, "I'll tell you what. Here, take one of my extra ones, borrow it, and get back to me." And so he calls me up last week. This is over a week ago. He calls me up and he's like, "Oh my God. Oh my God. This thing is the best thing ever since sliced bread." And he goes, "I don't know if you were feeling love or what, but this thing is incredible." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah. Why haven't you gotten one?"
It's been
And
out for 2 years.
right. But, you
Shoot,
know,
longer than that, really. Because Bill
yeah,
Hewitt's was like
there's
what,
been
4 years or 5 years, I think.
yeah,
Well,
there's
yeah.
been other
Well,
choices.
Carl Stuckey would be the OG, right, with the LED
Right.
light.
Yeah, him and Bill Hewitt. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I still have my
I
original
remember.
Carl Stuckey light.
I
Sorry,
remember getting Carl Stuckey light, and he gave me 2 of them, and I gave one to you, Vince, and you're the
you
first one,
did.
and you fell in love with that thing, and then you started giving Carl Stuckey, "Hey, you need to make one in yellow." Remember, you were telling the lens.
Yeah, I ran into Carl Stuckey. He was out here with his family at Disneyland, and I met him in a parking lot, and he gave me his digitized strip for the fog board. He's like, "Yeah, it's the best digitized line that you could get right now because I guess it's hard to print that out. The dot
It
matrix
is,
is
yeah.
never.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to match that." Uh, and I didn't like it, but I put it on the backside, and once you put it on the backside, it reflected perfectly. It gave the perfect fog. So I had to report back to him on that. I don't know if he ever used it or not, but yeah, that's the Carl Stuckey light. I think I remember the first MTE that he showed up with it, and I think he didn't even have a table. He
no,
jumped in on our table, and
yeah, yeah, yeah. We had a lot of good times though with
yeah,
that. But
yeah,
as far as Carl Stuckey's, I remember using it, and I'm a line person. I was like, man, this light is so good. I just wish it was a little wider for me, because I need a certain amount of light, lines to see. But man, it was some good fog, dude. It still is a great fog board.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
My only downside to Carl Stuckey, he came out with a new light, and I like it a lot, but I wish he would have made it an inch or two wider. Because what I find is when you have a narrow light, you're moving the board more.
Yeah.
When you're finishing that dent, you have to back it up, you have to tilt it to get that last 10% out. And you don't have to do that much when you have a certain distance away from your center line to the panel.
didn't you ask
So
him that already though? And what was
I
his
did.
answer?
Well, I don't think he really had an answer. He's I brought it up
He
to him
told me
last
he
year.
told me it was for for packing reasons, for guys that are, on the hail trail, and they needed to be able to pack it away,
Yeah.
and things like that.
And
Which
that makes sense
yeah.
because I think, well, Carl Stuckey, he's mainly a hail guy from what I understand.
Mhm.
Uh, so, and I think initially that smaller board it was for cross checking mainly, or at least whenever he displayed it at MTE, he was
Yeah.
saying how well it is for cross checking. So you don't
I
have,
have no complaints
or,
about it. It's a great board. I mean,
yeah.
look at his new. Did you see how it's setting up now? Like
Yeah,
you
the
can
new
put
design
you
is
can
great.
put it in 2 different areas, like on clock. What is it? Undetach it and put it back on a
Yeah.
different area.
Yeah, no, it's a
all the
great
housing.
design. He puts a lot of work and effort into the R&D of all his equipment.
Now, how does his battery compare to like the Makita batteries or the DeWalt batteries
It's
on
nuts.
James Lee?
They last a
It,
long
I
time.
think they're nuclear powered. I still have the original those battery pack.
Yeah, because after using his glue gun and seeing the battery in that thing, yeah, it's nuclear powered. Kryptonite.
Kryptonite. Yeah, I still have the original battery pack, and I also have a Pro PDR Solutions Chubby, a 20-inch Chubby, and his battery pack does not last as long as Carl Stuckey's.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
you know what? I
Okay.
don't think there's all just one type of light board.
No,
I
no.
I have several light boards now.
I have a lot myself. I have a lot myself.
Okay, so my go-to light is the shorter version of the Unlimited light. I have the long one. I ordered the long
The
one.
14-inch.
Yeah. And I didn't like it. I thought I'd want that more, but I gravitate towards that smaller one for some reason. It's the one I like grabbing. It's a
Kind of
little bit lighter. Um,
maneuverable.
yeah, and it does
There is a
fine.
sweet spot, like far as when people want a certain thing. Because I'm the same way. I have the 20-inch. I have the miniature one. I have the one that I like that I had James Lee make for me, the DT line board. But you're right. I go to the smaller one. You know.
Yeah. Do
Um,
you too?
yeah, I haven't had a Carl Stuckey's LED light in a while, but I remember using that heck of a lot. So um, what's your go-to light? Well, if you're asking me what my go-to light is, sorry, Daniel, it's the DT signature series from Unlimited, which is the line board.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Vince?
The Unlimited Dent light is what I grab now. Mike gave me an extra one, and I know it's the older model version. He's since upgraded it, and I will probably come out and buy the newer version, and it will most likely be smaller. Is the Unlimited Dent light I have now has the Makita battery pack on it, and what size is that, Mike? 18-inch, I believe.
Which one? The battery?
No, the one that you gave me, the Unlimited Dent light.
Was it a big one?
A 14. It's a
a
14.
14. I'm sorry, it's a 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I put Stuckey rings on it, and it's still.
Oh, you have the first gen. You have the first gen.
I have the
generation.
first gen, yes,
Uh-huh.
and it does move on me a lot, and it drives me up the wall, but it does give a good reflection, and I'll rotate between that and the Pro PDR Solutions 20-inch Chubby.
I like the Chubby. I used the Chubby. I was like, well, that's pretty good. It's not bad. How's the housing? Has it cracked on you or broke?
Not
or
at all. I thought when I first got that, I'm like, this thing's gonna fall apart in weeks, if not days, and very flexible, and it's built well.
That's the thing. We could go and talk about the strong points and low points of each light, but it really depends on the person who's using it. So
It kind of really boils down to preference almost sometimes.
yeah. Well, it
Um,
is. I think every tool is like that. Always about preference.
Everybody has a
I
different, and depends what kind of dents you're doing too. Hail,
Uh-huh.
you doing big dents, you doing
Motorcycle.
yeah.
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 Seriously, yeah.
And just like we have muscle memory for our tools that we always grab for, I think our eyes have that muscle memory as well, where you've been on that dent before. So I'm going to grab the Carl Stuckey light, just instinctively, or I'm going to grab the Unlimited Dent light because I fixed it and I fixed it well last time, and I know exactly what to look for.
Well, you could technically have like, maybe a Carl Stuckey light would do you well when you have the when you're tight area down low on a car and you don't have a jack or you're just kind of working low. That's more maneuverable to get something like that. The 20-inch, Unlimited light is great for, I would say, a hail tech and going above on roofs and stuff like that, where you need to cross check a long length, but not too big, where you can actually maneuver it and move it across. Then you got your James Lee regular light, which is probably your run and gun most of the time when you are going back and forth on routes, from one dent to another. So that's how
So
I kind of look at things.
so for the guys out there that aren't aware of the newest version of James Lee's light, let's talk about what things he did improve. And number one was that he changed the switches. So the on and off switch um, was more, the old version um, was a kind of a, what kind of button would you call that?
Toggle.
Yeah, toggle
No,
switch.
it wasn't a toggle. It was kind of just a plastic bump,
Oh, yeah, I know.
and and then he switched it to more of a textile type of switch, which sticks out a lot more. And when you push it, you know that it's on and off, and it's easier. And it's big. The on and off switch is bigger than the dimmer switches. So if you're just blindly reaching over and feeling for the buttons, you can just feel for it without looking at it and turn that thing on.
Or you
Which I
would know
think,
when the light strip goes on that it's on.
well, no, you can feel for the button though. I'm saying, yeah,
Sorry.
obviously,
Obviously. Who's been drinking tonight?
nobody, not me. Not me.
Well, so are you asking what he did change in that? So that was
No,
one.
that's what he did change. No, I'm just pointing out that that was
There's a
big
dimmer
deal.
switch on it too, right?
Well,
There's a dimmer.
Yeah.
You can either click it and it'll go by step, or you hold it down, it'll go down or up in increments.
Very nice.
So you can see that. Also, from your version, your first version, Vince, was you had the regular lock line. Then he has this spinal cord on the second version.
No, but I did put Stucky rings on it to tighten it up.
Yeah, which did help.
Yeah, it did. I remember the first day that you brought that home from MTE, and we pulled up to my house. You remember when we pulled up at like 8, 9 o'clock at
which
night?
light?
The first generation.
Oh, the James Lee
The first generation.
Limited.
Limited, yeah. And we get out of the car, and you pull it out of the back of the car, and it's all dark on my street. And he flicks this thing on, and it was like a torch going up to the moon. It was like people were going to start coming around thinking that there was a grand opening or something. It just lit up the skies. Holy crap, that thing's bright. How are we ever going to fix it?
It only had
with
one
that
mode.
thing so
Yeah, I think the major people when they were complaining is they said, "Oh, it doesn't have it's too bright." For half the guys over there. Me personally, I was like, brighter is better for me.
I
Well, I
never
think
did
that-
mine.
Yeah, I never did mine either. Well, I had the original one, but guys use them outside, and you can use it outside because it's so damn bright. Or at
Yep.
least the original one. And I'm guessing the new version is bright as well, and you could control it if you are
Yeah,
inside.
absolutely. Yeah, that part really hasn't changed much, I don't think. But he told me that the LEDs that he's using are very far superior than everybody else's. That they're going to last longer. So
Yeah, I think we heard the same thing from James Langton. He's got some type of. Oh no, that was Steve. Steve Hoff was talking about the LEDs that he's using now are an upgraded LED. That you're not going to get a dead one.
Have you guys ever had, besides a wiring issue, have you ever had your LEDs go out yet on any of your lights yet?
nope.
Never.
No, neither have I. So it tells you
Yeah,
they're doing something
Okay,
good.
do you guys remember the old days of? I had one of those lights that it was made for an RV that went underneath a counter, and it had two bulbs in it, two
Yeah.
fluorescent bulbs,
Halogen.
It looked like a shop light, basically.
and it would fall, and the bulbs would break, and you'd be like, "Son of a bitch." And I'd be like, okay, where's the nearest hardware store? And go to the hardware store looking for bulbs. What a pain in the butt that was. I hated that.
I'll tell you my first.
Oh, the fluorescent. Yes.
I used to roll around in a yellow Carmi Ghia when I first started doing dents. 1973 yellow Carmi Ghia.
Hardtop?
Yeah, hard top. Chicks digged it, man. That was one of my favorite cars ever, man. I bought it for $500, and so I started with my stepdad learning how to do this, and he'd give me this like big iron rod, like light setup, and it rolled as smooth as heck, but it weighed as heavy as a tank. And
Oh
I
yeah.
and I had to break that thing down and put it in the back of my car. And yeah, I put my tools back there. It was, and we only, maybe I got a foot wide space, about 3.5 feet long, maybe tops. And I stuck in there, and that light took about 3/4 of the room in the back. And then I had my toolbox and whatever I had like you guys, I had like 5 or 6 main tools, and I had a nice punch, and with silicone and all that stuff. But I'd roll around, bust out this light, and it's just like what you said, but I had a lens cover over it with some giant lines on there and stuff like that. When I set it up, people were going, "What the hell is this kid doing, man?"
Yeah.
And they'd come up to me and they'd go, "Man, hey man, are you like, is that like solar? Is that like, what are you heating that panel up?" And I'd
Yeah.
go, "Yeah." I go, "Don't touch it for about 30 to 40 minutes and blow on the panel," dude, and they go, "Wow. All right, cool." So I'd mess with them.
That's
Well,
funny. My first dent vehicle was an Acura RS hatchback, and I had the same heavy iron light, and I remember having to lift that base
Yeah.
out of the back, and because it was a hatchback, and you had to lean over quite a bit, and I swear that's where all my back problems
No,
came.
you ain't lying, man. I had to break my thing down to like 10 pieces, man, because you're
Yeah,
right. Like, it was,
run
like I was taking out,
extension cord.
it was like a big old chain of like metal iron working, it's just crazy. So,
we back in the day with Dent Wizard, our light boards was our fog board, and then we would get a shop light, and then we would just bungee it on the back of the light, and that's what we used. So we had to have power to plug in, but that was the deal. We didn't really need a light board because we worked outside. But if we were stuck inside, growing up in my trade was in Chicago, and in the winter times we were stuck inside doing hail damage, and we're like, we need light, we need light. Oh, get that shop light over there. We would grab the shop light and tape it or bungee it to the uh, back of our line boards, and it worked great. It worked great, and that's back when we had before the wood suction cups too. So we would have our giant magnet on our board with our giant shop light,
Yeah.
which was like a snap-on light, bungee corded to it, and we're fixing dents with it.
I remember my stepdad rolling up when we first doing dings and stuff, and he's all, "We got this small, tiny ding, man, like tiny little ding. Go get the light." I'd take 15 minutes taking it out, putting it back together, bringing it over there. And, most of the time he'd be out, done in 5 minutes. And it pissed me off because it was like, dude, that wasn't even worth it for me to take out the light, So anyways, I'd put it back. But I had to tell you guys this story one time. There's a reason why I don't do dents like my stepdad. And I don't know if a lot of people notice though, but you could probably be the best tech in the world. Be the best tech in the world. But that doesn't make you a good trainer.
Yes.
Okay. So my stepdad was the worst trainer ever, period. Anyways, I'll give you one example, and then I'll keep giving you examples in the next podcast because I could make a series out of this guy. So anyways, he busts out this tool we bust out the light, and it was a small ding, but we were working on a Dodge Daytona. I don't know if you guys know what the metal's like that on those cars back in the day. But anyways, you couldn't get to it. It was really, finally my stepdad, after drilling like 4 or 5 holes in the car, he gets to the car, he gets to the dent, and he gets this tool, and the customer's like, "Well, you think he's going to get it?" I said, "Yeah, he probably will, So, "Mike, hand me Malmo." I go, now Malmo's this big tool, man, And so I go to the car, and you guys got to remember, I'm like 18, 19 years old right here. I don't know crap. So I'm getting this tool out, and he's all right. He gets in the car, takes the tool, and the customer's kind of looking and watching him. You son of a. He's cussing at the dent, and the customer's like looking at me, going, "Is this guy for real?" You know. And he does another push, and he'd have about 15 cigarettes, and he wouldn't put them out like put them out in the garage. He'd put them down right on his foot and step on it, dude. By the time we were done, he's probably smoked like a pack and a half of cigarettes back in the day.
God. For that was a tiny little dent.
Yeah, and that was a guy that I said I do not want to be like him.
Oh yeah.
I was embarrassed to go to customers with him. I really was. So, but anyways, he made me pack that big light back up, and most of the time it was for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, the guys that are just getting into PDR now have it made. They have no idea.
They do.
They know how to do
technology, and I didn't even think about it until we were sitting here. How much the light technology has changed in the last 20 years from what we went through to now. It's just amazing. I do have to admit, I still have my ultra dent fluorescent light that I use in my shop too.
I still have one of those too, a bulb.
Yeah, it's a bulb, and I still use it.
But some guys are
still use it. Wow.
Yeah, I still use it.
Some guys will still swear that that's a better fade.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your shop light, Vince?
Well, I'll still use the Limit dent, but if I'm working a big dent and I want to set up so I don't have to move my light boards around all that much, if I have to cross check and to check from different angles, I'll set up my ultra dent fluorescent light, and I'll set that up one direction, and then I'll use actually I use that in conjunction with my fog board. So I'll use the ultra light fluorescent with my fog board on one side. Now on the other side, I'll use the James Lee Illuminant light or the Chubby. So there's times where I'll have 2 or 3 boards out just so I don't have to move boards around, and I could sit there on my rolling cart and just back and forth, checking different angles. And it just speeds up the process. Where that's one of the luxuries of having a shop opposed to being out and on a driveway fixing a dent. You're just going to use one board and get it done.
Yeah, definitely. So my go-to, my shop light is kind of a Frankenstein. It's Ultra's base, but the light that I have is Pro PDR Solutions. I don't know what he calls it. It's the fat. What is it? The fat head?
Yeah, the wide one.
But it's the heavy duty housing. It's not the real light housing.
It's like corrugated.
Yeah, it's corrugated, which cools the lights better. But that wide light, when I'm doing a big dent, man, I love that thing. But it's really my go-to light for pretty much probably 70% of the dents I do on cars. And he actually did a really nice the back of it, the way it attaches to the stand. Pro PDR Solutions did a really nice adjustment, or its pivot point, or whatever you want to call it. He did really nice on his, and I like that part of the light.
Yeah.
But that's my go-to light. How about you? Do you have a shop light that you use?
Yeah, I definitely do. Well, especially when I train students, but they'll either have a limit dent light, like a 20-inch light, or they'll use the Ultra 3-foot, and I have a 4-foot light. There seems to be some difference. I'm not sure, but his last light series, he has almost like this bluish glow to it, almost on the cool white. So it looks it looks a little different. So
do you like that?
To me personally, it doesn't bother me. But some of my guys who've used it, they said it kind of bothers them. But John Trice is one of them. He said he had to send his back or something like that.
I don't have his latest light, Ultras. What do you think of it?
I like it. It works good. I mean, his housing's strong. I mean, of course, you guys know me. Most of the time, I put lines on my lens, so sometimes I'll have.
No, I mean, I like the construction of it, that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's top notch. It's good.
It's if it's
Stout.
it's ultra. It's always going to be rock solid. What about the moonlight? Is anyone going
I haven't had seen it yet.
to venture out? And
I called him and he says it's on the way, so we'll see.
okay,
Hopefully we'll see that soon, so we can test that out and talk about it.
yeah.
And
Well, one thing, we're going back to the Ultra, you said the construction. To me personally, I think the base is one of the strongest bases out there. So I've
Yeah,
had them all. I've lifted them all up on accident without a battery tray or a battery in the tray, and they all tipped over except Ultras. That's important to me. That's just my thing.
Oh, there's one other light too that we didn't talk about. That back in the day, that big iron one. What was it? An Inventure light? Because we were issued an Inventure light back in the day.
I think it was something similar to that. Yeah. Yeah.
well, Inventure was definitely the first one, I believe, that came out with, I would say, the new
Fixtures, right? For the lights.
well, it was he really thought out his stand more than anybody else, and I think he actually broke open the whole light generation of new design, especially with the stand goes.
Yeah, and his tips are. I remember getting an Inventure wire. It wasn't shaved at all. It was just straight wire and then a 90-degree, But anyways, I won't get off topic. But the lights were.
Yeah, so he was the first one out that I remember. We're going back to when there was no MTE show.
Yeah.
It was at the NACE show, and he was one of the early guys out there.
Well, I think I saw Inventure. Me and my stepdad went to a convention somewhere in LA, and I'm not sure if it was a car show or what. And he just happened to be there, and my stepdad was just like, "Holy!" It was like he walked into heaven, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, there's PDR tools here that somebody can actually make that are actually made for PDR." I remember
that you can talk to.
yeah, yeah. So I think he spent like $2,000 that day too. So
Yeah, we have a lot to thank for Inventure. I think for light technology. I think they really started things off, and then Dinking, I think, repopped them, and then Ultra came in, and then everybody started, getting serious about making light designs.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of light design, look how. Let's see here. When did Carl Stuckey's light come out, Vince? 6 years ago, 7 years ago, more than that.
Yeah, probably a good 6-7 years ago now.
Yeah.
What was the first MTE?
Shoot,
where were we?
So LED lights were actually out longer than what we said earlier. So they've been out for what, almost 10 years?
No, I don't think that long.
All right, when Pro PDR Solutions.
Then again, it is 2006.
That's
I'm sorry, it's 2016.
I know.
It might be close to 10 years now.
I would say it's about that. So somebody will be listening, be correcting us.
I want to say it was.
Trust me.
Wasn't it 2008 that they came out?
I don't know. I know Pro PDR Solutions put it out on the market. They were one of the first ones I saw with that, and then later on, everyone else started following up. So
yeah,
I think Bill had everybody beat by 2 years. I think at least.
Yeah. Bill is the guy that really started working on the fixture part, and
Bill Hewitt
makes a great light. I mean,
yeah,
that's the one I use, and
his new fathead is stout. Yeah, very good.
And there are different lights out there that we haven't even tried or even entertained. That Excel Tools out of Paris, they had an interesting looking light, but I don't think any of us.
I had one.
Guys.
I had their
Frenchies.
light. I had their light. Honestly, it was.
Oh, you did buy one, huh?
Yeah, it was good actually, but it wasn't bright enough towards the end.
Their technology, it was very, very thin, but you gave up the brightness for that.
Yeah, you didn't it wasn't really bright, and they didn't quite have the fog down from what I saw, and a lot of other people agreed. But the technology, like you said, was really good. For lines, I got away with it, but I always thought, man, I just wish it was brighter. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Where is it now? Do you still have it?
Yeah, I do. It's in that. It's in my toolbox and in the shop.
Now, one of the things I'm most excited about is James Lee's new Medusa, and I can't wait for that thing to come out. You have a prototype of that, Mike? The
No,
Medusa?
no.
Oh, you don't?
Mm.
Okay.
James not gonna let me have anything really technically until it's done. That's how he is.
Yeah,
So,
he's a perfectionist.
he is. He's
And
yeah,
that's good too.
yeah.
I like that. But do you guys have any thoughts about the Medusa? Do you guys care about it or?
Well, I mean, me personally, I mean, I don't won't have any use for it because unless I'm going out and doing hail. But you personally, well, actually, wait, hold on, let me take that back. I probably will have use the way you're thinking for it, right, Daniel?
Well,
For tanks.
motorcycles, yeah, having just multiple angles. So for the people out there listening, the Medusa you'll be able to take your regular luminant light and put it on a light stand, and there's an adapter that goes onto it, and you can put 3 on a light stand. So essentially, you'd be able to have 2 at opposite angles to cross check with. And I think a lot of guys are going to like that. Um, I've already got 3 lights, so I'm already set up. I just need the adapters to come out. I can't wait.
Yeah,
But
I'd like I said, I'd have to see it in action. I didn't get a chance to really mingle. You did. I had to keep bringing you back. You were always taking off on us,
that's right.
looking at everything
I
at
had to do my
ATE.
research, man, for the show.
Oh yeah, you're gonna babysit this booth next time. So,
Yeah. That's what I'm afraid of.
Vince, what's going on?
Yes. I'm just actually looking at the Illumident website right now, trying to look for that Medusa because I'm not sure if I saw it, but now that you described it, I believe I did remember seeing it.
Yeah, I don't think it's
so
ready.
And all of our opinions are from a door dinger standpoint. None of us do hail on a regular basis, besides the transient ones that come in town. And I know that the hail guys definitely have a different opinion of lights and lighting and the amount of lighting that they use.
Well, I have a super wide light from Ultra. Phone. Somebody, I mean, I would definitely take that light with me when I'm doing hail because we all know the more dense you can see through the light, the more you're going to fix faster without having to move your light.
Yeah,
So.
the less movement you have to make, the faster you're going to be.
And honestly, that's where I think the technology needs to go. I would like to see even a wider light, and maybe that wider light having hinges, so you can flex the sides of it in and out, and then have a light that that would be one piece, and that would be hinged on both ends.
Well, you know what I think is going to be pretty cool is those Samsung and all those lights that you can roll up. Did you see those? Like you can roll up. Remember that fold up? Anyways, I think James even knows what I was talking about too. Is there's a light that you can actually roll up and roll out. Just think if you had kind of like a shade, like curtains with a motor on it, and then you can just zip it up, like make it as wide as you want, right, by remote or not. So it would. You guys don't follow me, are you?
I am. Yeah, it's kind of like a curtain that
like an electric curtain that goes up and down, and it's glowing.
Blinds.
And it's glowing. It's got whatever pattern you want on it, and so you could self-adjust it by working without even touching the light. So
Sure. Now there's also that Robo Light. I think that's Drew's Tools technology, or he's always with Drew's Tools. I've never seen that thing in action except for at MTE.
Yeah, I did. I saw it. It does work pretty good. Then there's something similar to it where I think Ultra is selling it, is that you mount your light to this electric pole and it'll go up and down as well. Daniel, you seen that mechanism that makes the light go up and down that Ultra sells?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really think that's kind of more of a hail guy.
No, that's what we're saying for the hail guy. That's what you.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if I had it, I might. I don't know.
I would like to check out the Moonlight, though. I think the Moonlight is a good shop light for door dingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll have to report back to us because I don't think all of us are going to be fortunate enough to get one.
Yeah, you'll have to report back to us.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll have to see. Or after I use it, I'll pass it on to you, and you pass it on to Mike.
There we go.
We'll pass it around.
Sloppy seconds.
Yeah. But
know,
I'm definitely, you got to get the hammer. The hammer. I'm telling you guys, I'm loving that thing. Every day I use his titanium hammer.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm looking at that right now as we speak.
And that thing, it's really subtle, but it can do a lot. Especially knocking down on big panels. I mean, it really, really works well.
Cool. What now? How would you compare that to? So you got Shane Jack's hammer, you got your Dentcraft hammer, you got.
It's the titanium. The titanium makes the difference.
Yeah.
Can you remove that tip, or is it integrated into the hammer?
No, it's removable.
It is, okay.
Cool. Because I want to try that.
And the other thing is you can remove the whole head, and he sells you the hammer extra long, and you're supposed to cut it down to what you like. So when you get it, it's really long. It's way longer than I'd ever want, and I cut it down. I think I cut it down to 18 inches, and that was my sweet spot. And that's what I like. And then I put a foam handle on it. That's the other thing I did change on it. I went to the bicycle store and found me a foam handle and put that on there.
Then going back to light, do you guys like it? How do you like your fade? Do you like it narrow? Do you like it wide? Does it depends on how you like the dent? I mean, how do you like your fog in general on the light?
I like a wide fog. I like a really wide fog. On my shop light, see, it's different. On the portable light, I usually just have two lights on, two strips. On my shop light, it's so wide, I have
one.
No, I have one, two. I have three strips on. So I have a narrow fade.
You're talking like
and
this,
a wide fade.
You're talking like the fathead light you're using?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have three strips on, and what that gives me is it gives me a narrow fade and a real wide fade, and that changes your perspective when you're doing a dent. You just have to move your head to get a perspective of getting that dent flat.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's great. It works really well that way.
Cool.
Yeah, I like a wide fog, like a wide fog myself. My both lights, I usually use two strips, and they're the outside.
Wait,
the center off.
I noticed that the farther the lens is from the fog or from the LED, the more fade you're going to get. Is that correct? And then the closer it is, the less fade you would have, less detail. What do you guys think? Have you guys seen a sweet spot?
Pro PDR Solutions sells a HD version, and I looked at it. He said that you have to get used to it. I looked at it and I like the standard. I'm not sure I like the. You would probably like his HD version, Mike, because you're a line guy and you like
brighter.
The tightness.
No, it's less of a fade, and it's more sharp. It goes from bright to dark, and it's a definite line. It's more of a line than it is kind of a gray area.
Well, that's why I noticed when I set up these like the super fathead or ultra wide lights, I can have 6 or 8 strips on, and it almost looks like lines to me, with a little bit of fog in it, on the edge. So, anyways, I think we're good. Go ahead.
I'm actually, so I've been playing around with the lines a little bit, and I actually see a use for it. And I think I want to get myself just a dedicated light with lines.
Don't
'Cause
do it.
yeah, I
Shut
know.
up.
But there is times that I think it can be very useful. Um,
Or
and
when you're estimating for a customer.
no, no, there's times that
This guy.
uh, you know when you're working on that dent and it could be in a weird area and you're having a hard time seeing the dent. Um,
Like with the door open and you have to set up your
yeah,
board on the
it's usually
fender.
like underneath uh or the light or the mirror or somewhere tight on a car,
Yeah.
and sometimes a dent will look like an Audi, and but it's really an innie
Yeah.
because of the weird contours of the panel or whatever. And I think that's when the light board kind of comes into use.
Well, cool guys. I think we got enough content to hold these guys over until the next one. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I think guys that are interested in getting a light, I think you got to look at what your preferences are, but get one if you don't have one. If there's I couldn't imagine anybody listening to this show that doesn't have one, but I found one local in my area, so
And I
hopefully
think that's definitely the key. If you don't have a light board, a LED light board in this day and age, you're working in the dinosaur age. At this point, you have to have
Yeah.
a light board.
Yeah.
I mean it just ups your skills so much. It makes your work so much better.
Yeah.
When you have a proper light.
That's right. That's right. Well, listen, guys, it's late. Our
So we got to go into tech tip. You got some tech tip for us?
yeah, I got a tech tip.
All right, Mikey.
Tech.
Tell us your
We're gonna
tech
create an intro for the tech tip. Tech tip.
tip. Yeah.
Dum, 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 dum. You guys know me. I'll probably do something.
Dun,
Uh,
dun, dun.
Bow chicka bow bow. PDR tool tech. Uh, well, Daniel, I'm gonna steal another one. You gave me this tech tip, so you probably forgot about it.
Okay.
Anyways, you're doing gas tanks, and sometimes these guys don't have that little protector that goes around the round part of the hole, or anything that's gonna go against the edge of the metal, make contact with your rod into the tank. Well, take a piece of lock line, 2 pieces of lock line, slip it over your tool, and now you have something to pry against without worrying about cracking paint the rod against the paint or marring the edge of the fuel opening. So that's the tool tech that you showed me a long time ago.
Yeah.
I just did a tank tonight this
And
evening.
you can use that like when you're prying off of the area around the truck bed and around a tail light. Sometimes you have to pry off the edge, and you just slide one of those on. Everybody's got a little extra lock line around, right?
Yep, that's great.
Yeah.
Vince, you got one?
No, yeah, in a minute. Go ahead, Daniel. Yours. I want to look up the tool so I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. My tech tip is it was kind of on that same line. So on motorcycles, I was making the first protective housing, and the first thing I did is I found a old black bumper, not a painted bumper, but a black bumper from a cheap car, and I cut a big old hunk of plastic off of it, and I cut it into different shapes, and I was trying to create the right shape for that protective. And what's cool about that stuff, it's very vinyl based, so it's very malleable, and you take a heat gun to it, and you can shape it into any shape you want to be a protector. And then I started making wooden leverage blocks, for like the inside of a tail light on a Suburban. And I started nailing that plastic onto the wood, and that gave you a little bit more. It made the wood last a little bit longer from prying, but you can make different shapes. Um, and so, when you're looking for something to protect an area, next time you're at a body shop, look for an old bumper, cut a big hunk off, and you can use that as a protector for all kinds of different things.
Cool. Vinny?
Okay. All right. Here's the deal. I see it all the time on Facebook on the message boards about the Dodge Challenger, the dents on the quarter panels. There's two specific tools I use, but there's always the question, how do you gain access to it? Because as we know, it's double walled and it's a real pain in the ass to get a tool in there. Well, anyways, I'm going to tell you real quick how to take it apart, the quarter panel on the inside. You take the foot, sorry, I'm getting an echo there. You take the panel off, the foot rail panel comes off. There's one Phillips screw that you take off. That it controls, that's the only screw that's on the inside interior trim panel on the quarter panel. There's one screw right below there. You take the seat out, pull up in the front, the seat pops out in seconds. You take that screw out, and you're able to pull that whole interior trim panel off. Now, when you are pulling it off, you want to make sure that you take it off by the sail panel as well. So you're jimmying it off, you're lifting it off, and go back to the sail panel and pop that out too, because there's one plastic piece that kind of gives you a hard time. So once you have that off, now you have access to the innards of that quarter panel. And I'm going to do a video on this. I did a video on it years ago, but I lost it. I don't know where it is. Now you have access to the quarter panel. There's two tools that I use specifically. To get into the upper top of the brace, there is, you could use a soft flowing tool, kind of like a double bend tool. The ultra double bend will get you to about 70% of the dents above the body line. Now the dents that are on the body line, there's Ultra makes a tool and Dent Gear makes a tool, and they call it a 4-inch hand spoon. And you could literally go from, there's two holes. There's a top hole in the brace and the lower hole in the brace. You can stick a tool from the bottom hole up, which is the 4-inch hand spoon, and get to that body line. And I texted you a picture of the tool the other day, Mike. I don't know if you got it.
Yeah. Well,
that's actually a Z tool. That's an old Dent Wizard Z tool that works better. But the only ones that are in production is the 4-inch hand spoon from Ultra Dents or from Dent Gears.
Now Vince will shoot me over these pictures, and as soon as I have them, I'll post them up on our blog page underneath this audio you hear here. Or if you listen to iTunes, just go to pdrtooltime.com and go to the podcast blogs right there, and you'll see it.
Cool.
I don't know if I explained that properly. Did you guys kind of get an idea of what I was saying?
It's very visual, so that's good, because I was looking at, because those cars are a pain in the butt. Yeah.
They are a pain in the butt, and I work on at least 2 a week, and I know those quarter panels inside out at this point, and there's not a spot on that quarter panel that I can't get to without drilling a hole. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I just don't drill holes in them. I don't have to.
I know. All right. And when your drill bit's super sharp all the time.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that was good. Good little session here.
Cool, guys.
I hope all you guys out there got a lot out of it, and I think I can't wait to see the next generation, what comes in the future for the lights.
Yeah, me too. We know it's coming. All right, guys, we are out of here, man.